Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly for pricing at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a 42mm white gold 2011 model year launch from Harry Winston. This is the Midnight Big Date from the Midnight collection. 42 millimeters in diameter, it's slender at 10.3 millimeters thick and broad at 49.7 millimeters from lug to lug, with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, when you throw the watch on the wrist, it is an unusual sight, as dress watches tend not to be this broad, but it is very flat and elegant, and the proportions are becoming of a graceful dress timepiece. It would look just fine if you were wearing it casually. It is, after all, a white metal case with a dark dial, but this is a lovely and luxe timepiece that would be the perfect accessory for formal attire at dinner, at the opera, or at the office. Now, the watch is probably suitable for a wrist no smaller than 15 centimeters circumference because it is broad, but it is flat and it will fit underneath just about any cuff. Taking a quick look at the strap, you can see one of the reasons I recommend this watch for a somewhat larger wrist, because there is a lot of rigidity to the strap. This is a conforming end profile, so it's fit flush to the case, which means there's some stiffness because it can't pivot within the lugs, but it does create a very attractive and integrated look, and that was the idea. The strap is a large rectangular scale alligator leather, a black, semi-gloss, monotone stitch, some bolstering, especially near the lugs to give it volume. You can see it has a folded edge, and on the bottom, calfskin. It is a brand new Harry Winston factory strap, and you can see that it's equipped with the Harry Winston factory white gold pin buckle. A feature I like about this pin buckle, you see this on some brands, but they give you a little elevated bridge over the edges, and you can see how the Harry Winston logo and satination features on the side of the buckle. The attention to detail is very strong here, but because the bridge is elevated over the prongs on the side, the strap sits inside the buckle rather than stacking up underneath it. The case is simple and strong. We have character lines formed by the junction of the case back with the case and the bezel with the case, and you can see how the bezel is stepped back 2 times from the mid-case to create the impression of an even thinner watch. The bezel is shallow and conical. The lugs are stepped out from the case band, not integrated Calatrava style, and then they feature fluting, 1 fluted band on each side. You can see that continues. There's a wraparound down to the undertuck of the lugs. The Harry Winston crown features an interesting, jagged, sawtooth-like knurling on its edge, and then the Harry Winston logo. You have the Harry Winston arches, designed to echo the entrance to Harry Winston's flagship New York store. That's what these little strakes are on the flank. They're designed to look like the arches above the doorway, and it's more obvious if you hold the watch oriented with the crown up that it looks like the entrance to Harry Winston's original store. Now, the dial is lovely with a combination of layers. You can see there's an off-center ripple of sorts. We have a concentric pattern or azurage underneath the hour and minute hands, and then that pattern sort of multiplies, echoes, and magnifies outboard of the satin sunburst gray hour track. You can see it is an asymmetrical hour track as it swells as we move down and then thins out as we move up. You can see that there are lovely metallic polished numerals and indices, and then we have a little screw fixed ring that frames the double-digit date, and you can see that there is a sunburst pattern that radiates out across all these gray components of the dial. Now, the watch has a custom typeface developed for the date, which is nice attention to detail, and it is a big date. This watch is the Midnight Big Date, so we have a quick set system so we can rapidly set that big date. The watch does not feature hacking seconds, but it has a sophisticated movement based on the Frederic Piguet 1150. Harry Winston calls this the Harry Winston 1018. It is a Frederic Piguet 1150, but it is the high beat version of the 1150. So 28,800 vibrations per hour. This twin barrel automatic movement features 72 hours of power reserve because it has a higher beat rate than a standard 1150. That's why the power reserve is 3 days rather than the standard 4, the higher beat rate making the watch potentially more accurate in use. It pivots on 35 joules, and it is adjusted in a chronometer style 5 positions. Again, all of this water resistant 30 meters, so this is not an aquatic sports watch, but it's standard for a dress watch. Features I like here, you can see there's a lovely mirrored bevel on the edge of the bridges, a lovely Cote de Genève, nicely textured with a gradient from side to side laid down by a abrasive wheel. We have engine turning on the base plate, some of the locating pegs that help to locate the bridges on the base plate. Those have been black polished on their top, and then you can see all of the screw heads likewise been black polished with chamfered slots and circumference. So the finish here is what you would expect of Frédéric Piguet, which is also known as manufacturer Blancpain. It is a high-end movement supplier within the Swatch Group, and that caliber looks the part within this Harry Winston. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.